Alright, today we're going to be talking about multiplying rational numbers with negatives. So they're going to be mixed. You're going to have some fractions, some decimals. You're going to have to be able to do them when you have both fractions and decimals. So let's go ahead and get into our review. Alright, so for the review, we have converting fractions to decimals. So our two examples, we have 3/5 and 1/4. So the first step is you need to divide the numerator by the denominator. Alright, so we have 3 divided by 5. 5 cannot go into 3, so I had to make a decimal up top. That allows me to add my 0 next to the 3. 5 goes into 36 times. It goes in evenly. We do not have a remainder. So the answer was 6/10. Example 2, 1/4. So again, 1 on the inside, 4 on the outside. 4 cannot go into 1, so I make my decimal. Add my 0. 4 goes into 10 2 times. I have a remainder of 2. Since we have a remainder on this example, I have to bring down another 0. 4 can go into 25 times. And the answer would be 25 hundredths. Alright, so now that we went over a quick review over converting fractions into decimals, we're going to talk about multiplying when we have one fraction and one decimal in our problem. So our first step, we need to convert them to the same form or family. Step 2, we solve. So here's our first problem. We have 2/5 times -6 5/10. So you can see we have one fraction, one decimal. We need to make our fraction, in this case, into a decimal. So step 1, convert to the same form or family. So here is our step. Went ahead and made 2/5 into a decimal by dividing. 2 divided by 5. Since 5 cannot go into 2, we make our decimal. That allows us to add the 0. 5 can go into 24 times. 5 times 4 is 20. We have nothing left over, so the conversion was 4/10. So we have 4/10 times -6 5/10. Step 2, we just have to solve. So you have 4/10 times -6 5/10. We're going to multiply it out, so it's like 65 times 4. So you line up your numbers, not the decimals. 5 times 4 is 20. 4 times 6 is 24, plus our 2 we have up top gives us 260. If I count my decimal places, we have 2 decimal places, so I have to move it back into, and you have 2 6/10. The last step is to go back and check our integer signs. So I have one positive and one negative number that we are multiplying, which from our integer rules tells us that the product must be a negative, 2 6/10. The next example we're going to look at is -50 times 1/2. Alright, so this one, it's going to be easier to rewrite -50 as a fraction. If you remember, we can rewrite all whole numbers as fractions by just putting them over 1. So right here we have -50 over 1 times 1/2. The rule for multiplying fractions is just top times top, bottom times bottom. So -50 times 1 gives me -50. And then 1 times 2 gives me 2. Now we need to simplify. So we have -50 divided by 2. If we work it out, you get 25. If you look at your signs, we have a negative divided by a positive, so the answer would be -25. Alright, now I want you guys to open up your guided practice. We have 4 questions on there that we're going to work out together.